How do I bring discipline to my classroom? As a teacher, I fetch victory to my learners, and when I get a new set of learners, I make sure that I know them as persons. I know about their interests, their likes and dislikes, and what excites them. Um, as a friendly teacher, I would also like to know what is their learning style, and I would customize their lesson plans accordingly. And I would like to add those elements which could make their learning more fun. And I would make the lesson plans or any other activities that are carried on in the classroom according very suitable to their needs and their pace. However, when it comes to discipline, I like to be firm, and I like to be very consistent in my classroom management skills. So in the beginning of the session, I prefer making a classroom agreement with my learners. It is a joint effort wherein I, as a teacher, and the learners put together some do's and don'ts in a sheet of paper. And once it is signed and sealed, I make sure that I put it on the wall for the rest of the academic year. The classroom agreement is also backed by reward points, which will always keep reminding the students to follow these class agreements, because they would always like to get the reward points, which will be followed by some kind of responsibility that they would like to take, that they are eager to take during the class hours. Now, if we have a class agreement and the reward points followed, however, these would make very less sense if the teacher is not consistent in implementing those class agreements, those do's and don'ts. So it is very important for a teacher to be consistent if you really want to bring discipline into your class. So as a teacher, I have always remained consistent, and I make sure that all the do's and don'ts in the class are always focused and highlighted. And we give utmost importance to self discipline, which would, again, which is followed by class discipline. I make sure that my students have a routine to follow. For example, I like to start the day by singing the national anthem, followed by a child who would take the responsibility of reading the thought of the day or maybe a fun fact. Children are very excited to do or take responsibility, like reading out the word of the day, which would have the sentence meaning and the syllables. So if I have all these elements in my class, I believe the self discipline will be seen in a class. And it is always a pleasure to see a class where the students are ruly and they are organized. And that would also minimize the amount of stress, and it would save a lot of time, and the students will be good decision makers in the future.